Hello everybody, Dave here. Obviously, considering that it's Dave Gets Wood. Now, interestingly, well, I find it interesting. I've come here today, but actually without any intention of doing anything on the workbench. To be honest, today me and my dad were meant to be putting something together for him, but he's having to work, so we're not going to be able to do that. And it's not something that there's no way I can do it on my own. I'm not going to go into that anyway, but so what I'm going to do today is, basically I've come here without a plan. So I'm kind of sort of formulating one as I'm going. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to try and get the feet, as I'm going to call them, on the bottom of the unit. I was going to put the back on a few days ago when I popped up here, but I decided against it, and that's because the bottom, the big bottom piece that I've put on, is a little bit shaped. So rather than put the back on, then I thought, you know what, I'll get the legs on, and then it's on a solid base, hopefully, and then I can put the back on, and then hopefully it'll all be a little more lined up. So today I'm hoping to get the feet on, so I'm gonna have to clamp these down in a moment, drill some big fucking holes, and screw in some big fucking screws, because obviously, well, I say big, it's got to get through that and a bit more, but hopefully that'll help sturdy it all up. I'm not going to put the casters on yet, because once the feet are on, I can put the back on. Now, there is one problem with the back, in that obviously once I've positioned it, I ain't got a fucking clue where the bits of wood are inside. So I'm thinking I might have to, I wonder if I could mark it up from the inside, but even then, if I turned any way around that I turn it, it'd be wrong. You know what, there's wood that goes lengthways, so I reckon as long as I can get them, I should be alright. I'll work something out. I'll see if I can work something out for that. Because I know when I've tried to sort of eyeball a line of screws, I have managed to go way off. So I'm not going to try and just simply eyeball it. I'd rather at least give myself a guideline. So that's what I'm going to try and get done today. And then, to be honest, I'm probably not going to do anything else on the cabinet, on this workbench today. And the reason being is what me and my dad are putting together, or what my dad and I are putting together, is basically, it's almost a bit like a stud wall that he's going to want screwing together. So I'm thinking there's going to be a bit of cutting of wood to do as well, so I'm thinking I'll do a bit of cleaning and preparation, and then when it comes to doing that, I mean he's working at the moment, and hopefully if I can get the measurements of the bits of wood that he needs, I can always start cutting them up in preparation, but we'll see. So I'm not looking at doing loads today, basically because I hadn't planned for it. So we'll see how we get on. So as you can see, I've got my legs ready to clamp on, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one at each end, and then one where each of these struts are, because there is a piece of wood that is going all the way across, so I can screw into that. So hopefully that's not going to be too much of a nightmare to do, but we shall see. I mean, putting the bottom on did seem to work quite well. I also I've not looked at any of the drawers. Yeah, I've not looked at trying to sort out any of the drawers at the moment, although I have been doing a bit of research online of how to make drawers and different joints that can be used, and some of them take quite a bit of preparation work regarding getting machines set up, and I don't really have the machines available to me that they do from the ones that I've been seeing. I mean, there's some that make some beautiful joints and you wouldn't need any nails or screws, and they look fucking amazing, but haven't even got the ability to make up the templates. I mean, they were basically I mean, if you imagine a piece of wood like this, and this basically would have a ring drilled out, and then another ring, and then another ring, so you'd have a ring depth, but then a centre part, and then on another piece of wood you'd have the centre part drilled out, but you'd have the ring, and the ring would obviously go in together, and it looks fucking amazing. But I haven't even got the ability to put the fucking shit together to make the template to fucking start. So yeah, that's way beyond my abilities. So I'm not worried about the drawers at the moment, but like I said, the main thing for this at the moment is to get the back on, well, get the legs on, get the back on, and get the casters on. Once that's done, this can be semi-ignored for a while, and because I've got the top off, I can get that sanded down and treated and get that dealt with. But it's being able to move it that is the important part, and I've mentioned that a few times. So it's basically getting this to the point where it's easy to move, and hopefully by the end of today I'll get to that point, because I will, if I can get the back on today, I will put the casters on. So yeah, so I'm going to crack on. Okay, bit of progress. The feet are on. Because of the size of my screws, I forgot to take into account the plywood with the size of the screws. So what I've ended up doing is, I was going to countersink anyway, but I've basically just countersunk deeper just to give my screw length a bit of help. But it is literally now ready to, I would say, be tipped onto its front. Yeah, normally I'd tip it onto its front, and then just put the back on and then just screw it down. But I want the weight of the unit on the feet to try and give me that level. So what I'm going to need to try and do is get it turned over. Now, one of the advantages we've got of the way that this is being done is the actual plywood that's the bottom, we've given it a bit of an overhang at the back, so the backing piece will actually be able to rest on something while I clamp it on, and then hopefully just be able to drill and screw that on nice and quickly. I say that, it's probably going to be an absolute ball ache, but yeah, I expected to come up against some problems with the feet. I've got a feeling I won't be surprised if the problems are going to come a little bit further down the line, but we'll see what happens when I get it turned over and ready for its backing piece. Okay, I'm ready for putting the backing piece on, and something I have just noticed is that the unit is definitely now looking a lot straighter than it was before I started. Obviously that is part of the plan. I mean, I might not be able to tell too well on the camera, but actually you should be able to. It is just looking like it's lined up quite nicely. Obviously there's the bottom piece in already. I have found that this is where the top fits down, and both ends are not held in by much. Now, one thing I did see as well is that this end is open, whereas this end does have some wood on it, but to be honest it's a bit nasty and there's some bits on here that don't need to be there. So what I'm thinking is at some point I'll take that off, take this extra bit of trim off here, and we'll put a piece of plywood on that side and a piece of plywood on that end, just to complete it, basically finish it off, for keeping shit inside it, and for strengthening it up. So, because hopefully it will strengthen it up a lot. Now, once this is done and I'm ready to, well, I've got it all secured and I'm ready to actually do some proper work on it. This is the back here. It could look quite interesting. We'll have to wait and see. But time now to see if we can get that to rest on that edge there. Right, I have got to a point where I can go no further, and annoyingly it's not as far as I would have liked to have got. Basically I started putting the back on, but because of the previous bowing of the unit, it's not quite, the bottom is not quite flat, and if I go ahead and screw this on completely now, it'll forever be the way that it is. So I'm going to try and do something. Okay, so if I show you, I've got it screwed in each corner, but you see obviously we're flush at the edge, and then we get a gap, and then we're flush, and then we get a gap, and then we're flush. Basically this bit and this bit have bowed, right? Basically it's sagged, and I was aware of this. It's what the unit did. That's why I've put feet here, to stop it from sagging anymore, but also to give me the possibility of doing what I'm going to do now, which is I've put a couple of screws in here, mainly because if I put one screw in there I may hit a nail, but I've put a couple of screws in there and then I've left it here and here. And what I'm going to do is, or what I'm going to try and do is, get this tipped back up onto its feet. Right, I'm not going to put the casters on, but I'm going to get it tipped up onto its feet and then leave it a while and see if I can reduce this bowing. Now that's why I haven't screwed it here, because hopefully this gap will reduce. Now will it happen? I do not know, but there's only one way I'm going to find out, and that is to put it up on its feet and leave it a while, see what happens. I mean, perhaps leave it a week, and if it hasn't come down in that time, it probably isn't going to come down. It doesn't help either that the floor area of floor that I'm on at the moment isn't level, so that doesn't help. But in actual fact, for this it might help. For reducing the bowing it might help. We'll see. I'm knackered though. A little frustrated that I can't get any further along with it, to be honest, but at the same time I'm kind of not surprised that I've got a problem with the bow. But one way to look at it is I wasn't expecting to do any of this today, so at least next time I come to work on this, I am going to be a step ahead of where I was. I just don't know exactly when that will be. Right, yeah, that's me done for today with this. There's nothing else to show you with it really. So have a good one, folks. I'll see you again soon.